or you see after the assassination of the far-right agitator Charlie Kirk, anyone...
Far-right is a little extreme, Kevin.
What?
It's the right-wing agitator.
What?
This was one of those rare moments on Good Morning Britain where the mask slipped, and it was glorious to watch. Kevin Maguire, a man who never misses an opportunity to sneer at conservatives, went straight for the lazy label, calling Charlie Kirk far-right. But this time, instead of the usual nodding along or silence, he was actually called out for it, live, on air. And honestly, I'm still surprised they didn't cut the feed. We all know how tightly controlled these shows usually are, with their panelists carefully chosen to reinforce the same narrow narrative. Yet here, for once, someone challenged the smear, and Maguire looked rattled. Think about it. The term far-right is thrown around constantly these days. It's become a catch-all insult used to shut down debate, to delegitimize anyone who dares step outside the approved mainstream script. But when you actually press people like Maguire on what it really means, they can't back it up. It crumbles under the slightest scrutiny. And that's what made this moment on GMB so refreshing. Charlie Kirk is a conservative commentator. You can agree with him or disagree with him, but branding him far-right is dishonest. And finally, someone had the courage to say it out loud in a place where those words rarely get challenged. I'm not exaggerating when I say I was in shock. Not because Maguire trotted out his usual smear, that's nothing new, but because mainstream TV allowed a counterpoint to be heard. If anything, this shows just how desperate and sloppy these commentators have become. Their old tricks don't carry the same weight anymore, and ordinary people are starting to notice. So watch closely, because moments like this don't come often, and when they do, they tell us something important. The monopoly on the narrative is slipping, and the audience isn't buying the lazy labels anymore. Let's have a watch, but first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more.
Or you see after the assassination of the far-right agitator Charlie Kirk, anyone...
Far-right is a little extreme, Kevin.
What?
It's the right-wing agitator.
What? He backs the Great Replacement theory, the conspiracy theory that somehow the government is working to replace white people.
I'm not sure
he did. He used to back it. He said the Civil Rights Act, which enfranchised black people, was a mistake. He backed the idea that...
He was involved in very supportive campaigns on behalf of black employment.
He backed the...
And had a lot of black supporters, by the way.
He backed... It was mainly white nationalists who backed him.
I don't think that's true either. I don't think you know the nature of all the people who backed him.
He backed the conspiracy theory that the election was stolen when it wasn't. You just go through the list. Far right hauls up.
He's a young man who was murdered.
Yeah.
He was a young man.
And that is appalling. And we haven't even had his funeral yet. It's a terrible stain on what's happened in America.
He was a hate preacher.
And he's a martyr to free speech.
Well,
he was a hate preacher, and he should not have been murdered.
He was also someone who went to university campuses and engaged in debate.
And he involved millions of young people in the political process, which is important.
I absolutely,
utterly... If you've been on the other side of the
totally and uncompromisingly and in principle condemn political violence.
OK, good. Well, let's leave it there. Can we talk about...
He's no saint.
OK, well, I mean, yeah, that's his maybe.
Few of us are.
But exactly right.
Trying to make out who you are. I mean,
few of us are.
But it's beholden on us, isn't it, to mind our language when a young father, whatever you think of his political statements of the past, when he dies in such a horrendous manner, we have to watch how we say it.
But let's not ignore his politics, and two, he opposed gun control.
Well, who doesn't in America?
Well, so do most people.
Most people back gun control. They can't get it enforced.
Well, he backed the amendment, which means that guns should be held freely, mainly because he wanted people to have guns against tyrannical governments. That was his justification.
And there you have it. Kevin Maguire, so quick to smear, finally challenged on live television, and it didn't land. This is exactly why people are waking up, because the establishment's old playbook of throwing around labels like far right just doesn't work anymore. When even shows like GMB can't keep the narrative airtight, you know the tide is turning. Ordinary viewers see through it, and the more these commentators overreach, the more they expose themselves. Moments like this prove one thing: the gatekeepers are losing control, and the truth is breaking through. In other news, Richard Tice has predicted that Sir Keir Starmer may not last until May, following an emergency debate on Lord Peter Mandelson. Speaking to the media, the deputy leader of Reform UK accused the Prime Minister of having misled Parliament following an extraordinary debate on the ex-ambassador to the US. During the debate, Labour MP Emily Thornberry revealed that Lord Mandelson was not properly vetted by the Foreign Office until after his appointment by Sir Keir. Ms Thornberry told the House, "Mistakes can be made and obviously have been made because while the shocking revelations of the last week were not in the public domain in December, Lord Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was very widely known. And had my committee had the opportunity to question Lord Mandelson, I'm confident that our members would have raised a range of questions." Discussing the debate, Mr Tice stated, "It was an extraordinary 3-hour debate, and I raised 2 issues. One is the Prime Minister's woeful political judgment because he personally made the decision to appoint Lord Mandelson in the knowledge, with a 2-page dossier summary, that he basically had links to a convicted paedophile. And then also I think he actually inadvertently misled the House of Commons last Wednesday when he said that a full due process had been carried out during the appointment. He added that is not true because he had made the appointment and announced it, as we now know, before the whole vetting process properly started. So it was a pretty significant debate, very fiery, brilliantly led by David Davis MP. And I have to say the government minister was rocked and reeling all afternoon. As host, Tom Harwood analysed the debate and highlighted his surprise at how many Labour ministers went for the jugular. Mr Tice declared it is because Lord Mandelson's actions are indefensible. He told Tom it's because what he has done is so totally indefensible. You can't defend being the best pal of a convicted paedophile or that recommending to the paedophile to use his jail term as an opportunity. That was the advice from Lord Mandelson. I mean, it doesn't get any worse. He has been utterly humiliated on the international stage ahead of the visit by President Trump. And I think the Prime Minister is very glad there's not Prime Minister's questions tomorrow because he is on very thin ice. And the chat in the House of Commons is that the Prime Minister may not last until May. Pressed by Tom on whether Reform UK's announcement on Monday of Danny Kruger's defection has slowed pressure on Sir Keir, Mr Tice disagreed and declared the party as parking tanks on both Labour and the Tories. He concluded, "We're doubling down. We were putting massive pressure on the Conservative Party, and everyone knows there's huge pressure on the Labour Party. So basically, we're just parking our tanks on both of the 2 main parties' lawns pretty successfully, I would suggest." Richard Tice's comments highlight just how much political pressure is closing in on Sir Keir Starmer as the fallout from the Mandelson affair deepens. The Reform UK deputy leader did not hold back, accusing the Prime Minister of both woeful political judgment and misleading Parliament over the vetting process, while also stressing that even Labour MPs were scathing during the debate because Lord Mandelson's position was utterly indefensible, with speculation in Westminster that Starmer may not last until May, and with his authority visibly shaken ahead of a key international visit. Questions about his leadership are becoming harder to ignore. At the same time, Reform UK has promised to intensify its offensive on both Labour and the Conservatives, claiming it is parking tanks on the lawns of Britain's 2 main parties. All of this points to a turbulent period ahead in which Starmer's grip on power will be repeatedly tested. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.